with the unveiling of Caitlin Clark's new logo as Nike's newest signature athlete. Everywhere you look, you see the interlocking C's.
What happens when the most talked about player in women's basketball gets her own global logo? For Caitlin Clark, it didn't just mean another sponsorship deal. It meant rewriting history. When Nike unveiled her interlocking CC symbol, it wasn't just a launch. It was a statement, a declaration that women's basketball had officially crossed into a new era of fame, fashion, and billion-dollar branding. But behind the glossy billboards, sold-out merch, and glowing headlines, controversy has already started bubbling. Fans are celebrating, critics are questioning, and some are even saying this logo could be bigger than Jordan. So is Caitlin Clark's Nike deal the biggest leap forward women's sports has ever seen? Or is it just clever marketing with a luxury price tag? That's what we're about to break down.
Finally, we had an opportunity to see Nike's unveiled Caitlin Clark logo.
When Nike officially unveiled Caitlin Clark's logo, it wasn't just another sponsorship reveal. It was history in the making. The design itself, two interlocking C's, might look simple at first glance, but the meaning behind it is enormous. Clark became one of the very few athletes in the world and one of the only women in basketball to join Nike's elite signature roster. That's the same category as Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Kevin Durant. Think about that. A 23-year-old rookie in the WNBA already standing alongside the biggest names in sports history. It's the kind of move that instantly signals to the world that Clark isn't just another talented player. She's a global brand. Nike made sure the rollout matched the moment. Billboards with the new CC flooded city streets. Special launch parties were held, complete with free giveaways for Fever fans. The message was clear. Caitlin Clark isn't just the future of women's basketball. She's the face of it, and Nike is betting big on her. But as massive as this announcement was, it was only the beginning. Because the reaction from fans, critics, and the basketball world at large turned out to be even bigger. The moment Nike dropped Caitlin Clark's first piece of logo merch, chaos followed. A simple $40 t-shirt stamped with her brand new CC emblem and the phrase, "Caitlin was here," sold out in minutes. Online shops crashed under the demand, and early estimates suggested millions of dollars in sales before most fans even had the chance to check out. At the Fever's home game that same week, Nike and the team hosted a full-blown launch party. Fans poured into the plaza, snapping photos of giant murals and walking away with free commemorative shirts to celebrate the unveiling. For a player who's still in her rookie season, the scene looked more like the rollout of a long-established superstar. And it didn't stop there. Nike announced that her full logo apparel line would drop in October, with her first signature shoe scheduled for 2026. Fans weren't just ready, they were already saving up. On social media, people posted screenshots of their shopping carts, proof that Clark's name alone could push merchandise faster than nearly anyone else in sports today. In that moment, Caitlin Clark wasn't just an athlete. She was a movement. But as exciting as the hype was, the launch also sparked its fair share of frustration. And the backlash came just as fast as the sellouts. For every fan who managed to snag Caitlin Clark's new logo gear, there were just as many who were left frustrated. And that frustration quickly turned into backlash. The biggest issue? Accessibility. Nike had billed Clark as a global icon, yet her first wave of merch was only available in North America. Fans overseas were furious. Supporters in Europe and Asia complained that they couldn't even place an order. The only option was to find someone in the US willing to ship it, often paying double the cost once import duties and shipping fees were added. Then came the criticism over the product itself. That $40 shirt? Many fans called it basic and cheesy rookie merch. Some argued that Nike had wasted an opportunity, saying Clark deserved something more polished and premium for her first official release. To them, it felt like Nike was cashing in on her hype without putting in the effort to match the moment. And yet, the irony was impossible to ignore. Even with complaints flying, the shirt still sold out instantly. People were angry about the price, angry about the quality, and angry about the lack of global access. But they still paid. It was proof that Caitlin Clark's brand had reached a level very few athletes ever touch, where even controversy fuels demand. But that wasn't the end of it, because soon the comparisons started rolling in. And they made the conversation even louder. As the dust settled from the initial release, a new narrative started to form, one that sounded almost unbelievable. commentators and fans began comparing Caitlin Clark's logo launch to the most legendary sneaker debuts in history. Some even went as far as saying it was bigger than Jordan, bigger than LeBron. At first, that sounds like pure exaggeration. Michael Jordan's Jumpman didn't just change basketball, it changed global culture. LeBron James's signature line has generated billions. How could a rookie even be mentioned in the same breath? But here's why people were making those comparisons. Nike isn't just treating Clark as another athlete. They're marketing her as a once-in-a-generation global ambassador. Executives openly said they expect her brand to bring in billions in revenue. And the logo itself? It wasn't designed to look like a typical sports emblem. Instead, Nike leaned into luxury, made a sleek CC monogram that fans immediately compared to Gucci or Chanel. The message was clear. Caitlin Clark isn't just being positioned as the face of women's basketball. She's being sold as a fashion icon, a cultural figure, someone whose brand could stretch beyond the court in ways we've rarely seen before. Of course, the hype also raised big questions. Was this genius marketing, or was Nike putting too much weight on one player too soon? And could Clark's logo really carry the same long-term cultural impact as Jordan's Jumpman? While those debates played out online, Clark herself kept things simple, focusing less on the hype and more on what the moment meant to her personally. While the internet was busy debating whether her logo was the next Jordan brand or just overhyped merch, Caitlin Clark herself kept the spotlight steady. She didn't feed the drama. Instead, she spoke from the heart. In Nike's official press release, Clark said, "To me, this is more than just a logo. It's a dream come true. People always talk about leaving your mark on the game, and this is another way I can do that." That line summed up everything about her approach. For Clark, this wasn't about chasing luxury branding or sparking controversy. It was about legacy, about proving that women's basketball could stand shoulder to shoulder with the men's game, both on the court and at the cash register. She also emphasized what the moment meant for younger athletes. For years, girls grew up watching basketball without seeing many women with their own signature brands. Now they have Clark as proof that it's possible. She's not just selling shirts, she's opening doors. And while fans argued over the price tags and limited releases, Clark's quiet humility only made the movement feel bigger. She didn't need to clap back. Her game, her logo, and her vision spoke loudly enough. But if Caitlin Clark's words felt inspiring, they also pointed towards something much larger. The way her launch exposed the business side of women's sports like never before. Caitlin Clark's logo didn't just break records. It broke open a conversation about the future of women's sports. For years, critics argued that there wasn't enough demand for WNBA merchandise, that fans wouldn't pay premium prices, that signature shoes for women athletes couldn't sell like the men's. Clark's launch destroyed that narrative in minutes. The shirts sold out instantly. Fans were literally begging for more. Overseas supporters were willing to pay import duties that doubled the cost, all just to get their hands on a piece of her brand. Nike executives made it clear this wasn't a side project. They called Clark a global ambassador and hinted at billion-dollar potential. For the company, the CC logo isn't just a fashion play. It's proof that women's basketball has finally hit a level where the audience is too big to ignore. But the rollout also highlighted how much work still needs to be done. If Clark is a global icon, why is her gear only available in North America? If the demand is this high, why limit the product line to a single t-shirt at launch? The hype proved the audience exists, but the execution showed how women's sports still fight for the full commitment their male counterparts get. In a way, Clark's launch became a mirror. On one side, it showed the potential of women's basketball as a billion-dollar business. On the other, it exposed how far brands still have to go in actually treating it that way. And that brings us to the bigger question. What does all of this mean not just for Nike, but for Caitlin Clark, the Fever, and the WNBA itself? Caitlin Clark's logo wasn't just a personal milestone. It was a turning point for the WNBA. By placing her alongside legends like Jordan and LeBron, Nike sent a message. Women's basketball isn't niche anymore. It's mainstream, it's global, and it's profitable. For Clark, it cements her role as more than just a rookie sensation. She's already the face of a movement. Every sellout proves her impact stretches far beyond the Fever's box scores. Every debate, from the hype to the backlash, only fuels her visibility. And every young player who sees that CC monogram knows that the path to stardom in women's sports just got a little wider. The ripple effect could be massive. If Clark's line continues to break records, it won't just be her name on future merch. Other WNBA stars could follow. more brands may finally realize the value of investing big into women's athletics. In that sense, Clark isn't just carrying her own career. She's carrying the league. So, what does Caitlin Clark's logo really mean? On the surface, it's just a pair of interlocking letters, but underneath it represents record-breaking demand, frustrated fans, global hype, billion-dollar projections, and the promise of a new era for women's sports. Some say it's overhyped, others call it historic, but one thing's for sure, whether you love the design or not, Caitlin Clark has already changed the game, and this is only the beginning. If you think Nike got it right, drop CC in the comments. If you think it's all just marketing hype, let us know your take below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the story of Caitlin Clark and the WNBA is only getting bigger from here.